But Denver's chill. Denver's in everything. Like, we can bring her.
Yeah.
It doesn't. She doesn't.
It's not a burden.
Yeah, it's not a burden.
No, y'all brought her to a concert, and I was like,
Yeah.
guys.
She was 3 months at
Take
a
her
concert.
everywhere.
And Denver was just sitting there. I was baffled.
I almost think it's necessary though for her because like even her lifestyle is going to be
She's
a lot
smoking
different than like a lot of other kids as she grows up. So I think it's necessary for her because she doesn't go to daycare. She doesn't go to daycare, so with her not being in daycare, I try to make sure like I have her outside.
Yeah.
And she's like in social environments.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
No, yeah, seeing Denver at a restaurant on your birthday was like the funniest thing ever. Because like Denver would like be like locked in on you, and then like see something else and be like, "Is that a white person?"
That's my favorite clip from today.
With like having a baby and like kind of having to like give up being selfish and like give like all to her, and then where do you end up finding time to like be like creative and like be like in tune with doing something like this, or like doing all the things y'all have been doing for Collected?
I mean, I think with Denver being so little and so young, time is really limited. But what I will say is like as time goes on, it gets easier.
Yeah.
Like the older she gets, you just find like little pockets, little windows. But that's like part of the sacrifice. That's part of like what you sign up for. You just got to know like when you have a kid, like your life is going to change. And it doesn't mean that it's like a bad change.
Yeah.
It just means that like you got to put a lot of your focus and energy into your baby now.
Yeah.
And just understanding that like there's going to be another time too in the future where you can get back to, what you're trying to do. Cause like I tell Leslie this all the time, like, yes, we're married and yes, we have a child, but at the end of the day, like there's going to come a time where I still have to do me and she still needs to do her because she's a very independent woman. So I don't want us to get caught up in like the role of like just being parents.
Yeah.
There's so many people out there that it's almost like that's their personality or that's their identity,
Yeah.
So like that's just what it is for the early phases, and we're just cherishing those moments because like she's never going to be 8 months again, So
Yeah.
That's kind of my perspective on it.
Also, I once had a friend tell me this about just something so simple like their schedules, like babies being on certain schedules and nap times, and it stuck with me. She was like, yeah, for us, like our baby doesn't really have a schedule. We don't let her determine like how our day-to-day goes. We kind of just have her adapt to us. And that's how it's been for us since she came into our lives, especially being business owners and always traveling and always being on go. You can't really have too much of a set schedule.
Yeah.
Because you just never know when the store might need you or when you might get the feeling of going to source inventory because you're running low. So she never really got set on a very, very strict schedule like you hear most parents be like, diaper change at this time, bottle feed at that time. She kind of just goes with the flow like we all do. So with that, we don't feel too like pinned down to anything.
Yeah.
We, like you said, we're able to still find those pockets to create and be ourselves, but it also just makes it a little more freeing for us.
Yeah.
To not become what everyone's afraid of when you become parents. Like you said, you hear parents just being like, oh, like you're having a kid now, like your life is over, like nothing will ever be the same. And as the weeks went on, we were like, wait, this isn't so bad.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like, week by week, it got better. Some weeks were worse, obviously, because, you know, babies go through things and their personality change. But slowly, as the months go on, we catch ourselves doing things that we never thought we would be able to do again.
Yeah.
Something as simple as the first time we went out to eat. Just the three of us by ourselves.
That was so nerve-wracking.
That was like, we did it and we were like, whoa, we just did that. Like, you celebrate.
I swear to God, bro.
No, it sounds terrible.
It's terrifying at first. Like, we were so scared of just leaving the house. I mean, I think I just left the house for the first time, like, driving, me in Denver, like a month ago, right? When I got home, he said, he literally said, that was a big step for you.
For real?
I just went to the store. I drove to Collected.
Yeah.
And it was just me and her in the car. And I parked in the alley. And I went in the shop. And he was like, whoa. He was like, you left the house with her today. Like, you know, that's just, I don't know. It's the small things that kind of help you get your independence back.
100%.
Because, like he said, it's not always going to be where I have to carry her out. Like, one day she'll be walking, holding my hand. It'll be easier to get out of the house. But for now, this is just how it is. And you just have to be, we've just learned to be accepting of where we're at and how things are right now, because we can slowly tell, like, through each month things change and we're going to miss those times.
Right.
Though, like, right now, certain things are like a headache. We're going to look back and we're going to be like, dang, like, you remember that? Like, I wish it was still like that. Soon she won't even need us to walk or, you know, exactly. It's going to, so I think we have a soft spot for just knowing that this isn't going to last forever and not being selfish about the time because it's not being taken from us. It's being invested into her.
Right.
Like, we also know there's a lot of people our age, a lot of people in our position that aren't able to spend this amount of time with their child. Like, we're very aware of the fact that, like, a lot of people have to send their kids to daycare or have family watch them, and thankfully we don't have to. We're able to make our own schedule, and Denver's able to be with us 24/7.
Right.
Like, she's with us all day, every day. If we're at the shop, she's with us. If we're at a coffee shop, she's with us. She's everywhere.
Yeah.
She's everywhere. So she is out and she's with us, and we've just accepted this is our life, this is our lifestyle, and it's okay. Like, we'd rather it be this way than it be any other way. So we're not going to complain about it. Some days are hard, yes, but it could be a lot worse. So we just appreciate the fact that we can spend these hours with her and we're not having to go clock in and, you know, miss her. Yeah. You know, because I think about that. Like, the moms that have to go to work and, you know, not spend this time with their kids. I'm like, I would be so sad.
That's a lot, dude.
It's a lot.
It's a lot to just give up and not see, like, all the little things. Like, y'all are getting to see the little things.
The little things.
Imagine a world where Denver, like, gets up and starts, like, doing the walking thing she's been doing, and y'all aren't in the room.
It's at daycare, and you're like, I missed it.
Yeah.
Like, that's a reality for a lot of people, and we're very aware that that's not normal for, like, people our age to be able to live like this.
Which sucks, man. I talk about this a lot with, like, our like, work hustle and bustle culture that exists here, and for lack of better terms, just doesn't exist anywhere else. Like, it's kind of like a thing everywhere else, that you take 2 weeks off to be with your family, 2 weeks off to be, you know, just present, and then 2 weeks on of, like, whatever your career path is. But, like, here, it's every day for some people. It's like, you know, you might get a weekend or two, but, like, the thing is, like, people are so dedicated to the career hustle bustle. I have to make up for this because this costs X amount of money. And it's like, it's scary where some people are with that mentality, because you want to be present, or in some cases they don't want to be present. They want to be locked in and kind of hidden away from all the responsibility that came with having a child, or even just being married. Like, and it's kind of sad just to think, like, how lost people are in that kind of culture. And I'm just grateful that y'all aren't, because you easily could be at Collected right now, busting out a sale. It's just like comes with the territory, but y'all balanced it out to a point where you get to have this moment with Denver, and it's, I don't know, man. I'm just so happy for y'all in that regard, because I remember in context to like y'all being so like open with how your relationship's going, and we got to sit down for the first time in a while, and I was like, so like what's the hard part? And he was like, wait, hold on, Leslie. He got her to come over and ask her first. Yeah. And Leslie was pretty open. He was like, it's been kind of hard this past week. Yeah. And I don't remember what the reason was, but it was like, no, like, it's tough, but like, we have each other. We get to be with her all the time to go through the tough parts, so the tough part's not even that hard. Yeah. And I think I'm just happy that y'all found solace in the hard parts, because like I think a lot of people get lost in the hard parts, and then they start to grow some kind of I don't want to say like attitude, but maybe like some kind of like resentment towards raising their kid, which sounds kind of insane, but it's a thing.
It does.
It's a thing.
Yeah. I see that happening because I heard about that a lot, about women, mainly women getting resentment towards their partner.
Yeah.
Because like I remember I told you how their life doesn't change.
Yes.
Like the man's life doesn't change much.
That was
a great point you brought up.
Yes, that's true, but I also think if you're with the right person, they'll adapt and they'll change and they'll take that into consideration. And he did a great job at that, because I expressed that to him, that I felt that creeping in, and I didn't want to be that woman that had that resentment. And I feel like he made changes and did things to make sure that I still had my time, and he was very present with me. Like, you hear stories about sometimes the woman gives birth and the guy's just out living his day-to-day, going back to work, hanging out with the boys. And I just, during that time, I made it like, hey, I made it really like firm to him that like, hey, I do need you here. Like, I can't do this alone. Like, I'm new to this, just like you are. Like, yes, you can still have your life and plan your things, but when I need you, I need you. Right. Like, for my own mental. Because it's rough. Like, I don't have family here. His family's here. So with that, like, I just have to be very open about what's going to be best for my mental. And I think it was good because, like you said, a lot of people can run from it. Like, a lot of men, they can run from it and dig themselves into work to not be present fathers, or to not, or they might be too afraid to take on fatherhood and change diapers. Or
Trust me. I think, and I full-hearted, like, I shout out to all the guys out there, but a guy like chasing his career when there's a newborn in the house is just a defense mechanism. Yes. That boy is scared as hell.
So
He's scared as hell.
I had to be very clear about that in a positive way, where it's like, hey, this is your baby too.
Yeah.
You know, like, we both have to get over the fear of being alone with her.
Look at what she's looking at me.
And now, because of that,
she's like, you hearing it, Dad? Yeah. You hearing this?
It's like, now because of that, like, they have a really good growing relationship.
Yeah.
Where she's going through a phase where no one's enough right now. It's just she wants mommy all the time, but she has so much fun with him. Like, they can be alone together, and I don't worry. Yeah. It was hard at first, like, the idea of leaving her alone with anyone.
Sure.
But we're in a better place now, and I feel like, thankfully, like, I don't feel that resentment because we do everything together, and we both know when we need to disconnect and have our alone time, and we give each other that. For me, it might be sewing or going to the gym. For him, it's, you know, even just a walk or going for a drive in his car, and, you know, writing, hanging out with friends. So we understand the balance that sometimes you do need time to yourself.
What's your favorite part about Leslie as your wife?
Man, I could answer that so many different ways. God, like, she's so understanding. I think that's one of the biggest things. She's so understanding. She's very open-minded. A lot of times she is gonna, like, process things with logic too, which is different for a lot of women. Most women are like expressing themselves through just emotion. So I think, like, with her being understanding and having a lot of logic behind feelings and just processing, it just makes our connection that much stronger.
The biggest would be the honesty. Like, he's very, very honest, and I think you know that too. He's just super honest, very blunt, which I know at times is not for everyone. But again, being in this generation and having someone that is honest and an open book, you can't put a price tag on that. That is rare. You don't come across that. So when we met and he was just super open about any question I would ask, he wasn't hiding things or making me dig for answers. It was just like, oh, are you did it? Yep. Are you did? Nope. Like, just super to the point with things. And I think that's why we ended up married so quick, was because we were just an open book to each other. Like, some people, like, you know, how you and Noah were thinking about how quick everything was and if it was a good idea. But again, we talk about how no one knew the conversations that we were having and the things that we were going through. Day one of us talking, we answered a lot of things that you and I probably went through right now in this interview. Like, this is how our conversation went. Like, this interview, this is how deep it got on the first day of talking as strangers. You know, open book about, you know, past relationships, what you're working towards, what you're wanting to better in. Like, men in this generation aren't having conversations like that. So definitely the honesty is the biggest for me, because, you know, women with experiences in relationships can become very insecure and question everything. And he never made me feel that way. He never made me feel like I had to dig for the truth. And I appreciated that so much. I still do every day, because you just can't put a price tag on that.
Say dada. Dada da da da.
She's mouthing it. So close.
Uh-huh.
You lost your hand privileges, Bo.
Okay.
Bro, I gotta answer it one more time. I don't know if you're still recording, but like, bro, another thing that I love about Leslie too is, like, we're in fashion, and you're not surface level. Like, you're just not. She's not just about the clothes, bro. The clothes don't make her. You know, like,
Right.
she's into it, obviously, but there's so many people, man, in this space that their whole personality is centered around the label. And, like, I love that, like, she's actually a real person outside of just fashion, you know?
Yeah.
So that was another thing that kind of, like, gravitated me towards her.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about fashion or business the first 2-3 months of dating.
That's
We
so
didn't-
eye-opening.
We
It's
didn't.
not a lie, though.
Yeah.
That's so eye-opening.
I think we started talking about fashion and what we did for work, like the stores and our brands,
Yeah.
once we were already engaged to be married, like
Wow.
3-4 months later.
And I feel like we're just now getting to the point to where we're, like, fully immersing ourselves,
back into the world of
like,
fashion.
how
Yeah.
we see ourselves and what our plan is, our vision is. We're just now getting there.
Yeah, and I thought that this last drop was pretty indicative of that, because, like, I mean, it doesn't go unsaid that you had a line around the block of Marietta Square like it was Fairfax. That's fine. Like, that's why me and Jordan and Noah were so glued to it, because, like, specifically me and Jordan were Odd Future kids, so, like, we were on that. Like, we were on, like, you know, like Tyler and them, like, hanging around the Diamond or hanging around at, like, Pink Dolphin or whatever, you know, was popping at that time. So, like, seeing, like, that for the shorts, seeing that for, you know, the hoodie, and then, you know, just seeing that energy, like, on a drop day, we were like, man, like, Tate got it. Like, he got it for real. And, you know, it's one of those things where I always was super curious, like, if the energy was gonna, like, you know, kind of fade away with, like, being a married man and being, you know, a dad, and, like, seeing if you were gonna, like, you know, probably take a different approach to, like, that same energy of having, like, people waiting on a product, and you're doing it. Like, I am so proud of you, because, like, I know we had talks about those days, like, it was up, like,
Yeah.
sold out type
Definitely.
stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, it's been days where like no one's like really copping, but like you're still pushing for that perfect piece. And I think like that energy, because like that energy is so fickle now in fashion. Like I was watching Ian Connor, ASAP Rocky do a Curran Frost interview, and he was talking. I don't really fuck with Ian Connor anymore, but he was talking about like that feeling of like finding a good piece and like being excited about it.
Yeah.
And it's like that feeling. We had a very similar conversation about it because like, I don't know, bro. It was just like that feeling like of like, oh, I just found this new Rick and like no one's got it on my block. Like that feeling. And every time we were in Collected around that time, it was like that feeling was like restored, because you think it's gone until you go outside and see like it ain't go nowhere. It's just kind of scattered in different places, but like that feeling is still there. And I felt it like when I put this on, I was like, man, the feeling's still there, bro.
Bro,
Like,
I thank you for
the
that.
pieces are still grailed, man. Like I think your energy is one of one in that regard. Like you're still probably one of the biggest people I look up to in that fashion regard, and I'm just proud of y'all, bro. Like y'all still doing it, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here.
Bro, thank you.
It's like this, you know when I felt like it was back, it was the pink hoodie. I was like, I'm feeling some energy right now.
Yeah.
It's getting back to like the drop days. Like he's back on it. I think that commercial really did it for me too. That was really hard.
Appreciate it.
Shout out to Connor and them. But yeah, man, I'm just proud of y'all. And Denver is excited and tart up.
Nah, bro, we appreciate everything. Appreciate the support. And yeah, it feels good. We're just excited to just still be. It feels weird, but I guess we're OGs now that we're in the game.
Yeah, you unk, bro.
Bro, it's crazy. It feels good, man. Like this is our baby. This was our baby before our real baby.
Right.
So yeah.
We were just talking about how like we're not on the resolution tip, but like what's a big goal for Collected this year if you do have any?
Bro, it's kind of hard to answer because I feel like where me and Leslie have been with it the last 6 months to a year has been like there's so many different avenues that we can explore right now. Like there's so many different routes that we could take it. Like if we wanted to stay the traditional route, we could focus on opening a second location. So that's an option.
Yeah.
Another option is like just working towards like wholesale, you know, like we already have our retail built, Collected in the squares already built. Now, like, should we focus on wholesale? And then even just the current state with the brand, it's like, okay, how much time do we devote towards designing? How much time do we put towards our actual brand again? You know? So I think it's kind of like, it's kind of just like an open portal right now to like opportunity.
Yeah.
So we're just going to do our best, and just wherever we feel like we're being pulled to, we'll just kind of like go in that direction.
Yeah.
What would you say though, Leslie?
I would say my biggest goal for Collected this year that we've talked about is more community events. Doing more things with the community this year and getting back in touch with the community that helped build Collected. Because this year is going to be the 6-year anniversary, so it's a great time to just get back to those roots. Because Collected's a staple in Marietta Square, so just walk in that.
Yeah. I like that.
That's a great answer.